2.
Howdy, folks! Welcome to another edition of our Prize Picks Player Prop, or what I like to call Joey's Therapy Session. Joey, how are you doing today, and how can I help you today?
I I was doing good, but last night was rough, so I'm doing bad again. But got my Justin Herbert jersey on. Got it brand new the other day. Excited to watch my Chargers play tomorrow, and have a great Sunday slate full of football.
Yes, it will be. I hope so, at least. Yeah, NBA yesterday was a little, I don't know, weird. I would say. I think that's a great way to put it, Joey.
Very
Uh,
weird.
I feel like in a way, Prize Picks kind of tricked us a little bit. Usually, they have Ingram assist on the board, and yesterday they did not. They
Yeah,
had
they bamboozled us.
Yeah. So if Ingram was on the board, I think he would have been a top projection play on our end
Most likely, yeah.
because we've been pounding that Ingram assist number a lot for the last month, and we've hit a
Especially
lot.
if it was like 4, maybe even 4.5. He's usually at 3.5 or 4. So with no Josh Hart, it would have been a great play. But we got screwed big time. I'll say that.
Yeah, but I have a good feeling for a bounce back today. How about my college football play, Zappy? What
Zappy,
did I
what
say, Joey?
that was the lock of locks. I'll give you credit for that. That was
Yeah, if you were
your
watching,
one
yeah,
good prop.
if you were watching all week, Zappy threw for first half yesterday. We got his prop at 332.5. It ended at I think 387.5. And if you were watching this pod yesterday, you heard me still touting the over because I felt it should have been over 400. And I think he ended up throwing for 550, 600 yards, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, he had over 300 in the first half, which
Yeah, I know.
insane
So
number.
I told everybody in Discord, I said that is the lock of the week. So hopefully you made a lot of money with that play. Bennett is about to start in 9 minutes, so hopefully he can get close to the over or go over in the first half. Boy,
Don't let
that would
us
be nice.
down. Don't let us down. All right.
Yeah, hopefully that'd be nice. I have a NHL lock pick that I will be dropping in Discord once we're done here. So I'm excited for that pick. And then Joey, I think there's some good NFL plays on the board for tomorrow.
I have the lock of the century.
Yes, you do.
For the folks. You had the lock of the century the other day with Adam, so now I'll throw out the lock of the century this week. Just stay tuned for that. We still have a couple more housekeeping items. Last video we showed, there's only one 30% prop out there. It was just John Collins over points. I didn't post anything, like we said on the pod. I never get it right, so we decided together that I wouldn't play it for you guys. And of course it hit. For some reason, I just can't get that man right. Even though that was the only play, the top play on the board, I avoided it for you guys so it could hit for you. And it did. So if you see only one 30% prop on the board, that kind of means there's not a huge edge for the slate. Even though it was a Friday, big slate, there was Prizepicks surprisingly had some good lines. Usually Brett puts out some bad lines for us. We usually do pretty well, but surprisingly, he put out some good lines. Apparently, he knew that Devontae Graham would get 0 assists, and Marcus Smart would go under for the first time in a very long time for assists as well, averaging 7 assists without Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's out. They only have him at 4.5 assists. Turns out, Brett was right again. 2 assists for Marcus Smart there. And then we touched on, they did have a follower Friday in Discord. We touched on how we loved Luka under assists because Porzingis was out and his assists plummet. He got 7 assists. We had him projected for 8, and he only gets around 6.5 with Porzingis out this season. So he fell right down in that middle with 7 assists. And then we talked about how Steph Curry was kind of a 50-50 prop. He had 2 assists in the first half, 3 assists in the second half, finishing with 5. So he finished 0.5 under. It's a little tough beat there, but it is what it is. You guys chose the prop. You guys could have chose the under. Apparently, everyone was talking about how they Prizepicks was scamming them, but they picked the follower Friday themselves.
Yeah, tough call because I know on the pod we said we both our gut feeling was Curry would go under assist. The data liked Curry over by like what 0.2.
Yeah, I think it wasn't even
You
at that
had to
6 mark.
Yeah,
So
and to get that 4x, you had to play the over. So sucks a little bit. I wish that they would have let you pick, what you wanted to do on those props. But like you said though, Luca, we love the under on it. He hit. Just yesterday was just kind of a bad NBA game. There were some props on there that usually aren't. Um, just overall weird day, but like I said, good. It should be a good football weekend. I'm really looking forward to this football weekend, Joey. A
yeah,
lot.
I dropped my article for Bet Karma earlier today. I have a little giveaway going on myself. Ethan likes to give away money, so I'll give away some money this time. The link will be down in the description below to my Twitter. Just like and follow me. You don't have to follow Ethan because we don't need him getting followers. So just like and follow me. If we go 5-0 on that article, I have a 5 play for that. 5-0 on those prize pick numbers. Give away $50. Ethan gave away 100. I'll give away 50. Just because he's richer than me. But it is what it is, and let's hopefully win some money. My Twitter handle is right there below my name, DFS_Joey, if you don't want to click the link for some reason.
If you need dating advice, click follow me. I got you.
Yeah, dating advice is Ethan. Prop advice is the prop code over here, Joey. I follow the good NFL team, so that means I know NFL more. That's how it works, right? Houston sports fans don't really know sports very well because they follow shit teams. Follow the good teams, you know about sports more. And if you're not in our Discord, head over to dfskarma.com/chat. That's a free link right there. And then we got the premium props channels if you'd like that. dfskarma.com/props. $35 a month. That'll bring you right to the checkout page if you're interested in that. You get the Prizepicks projections, which we will go through again this slate. We won't always go through these for free. And like Ethan said last time, they do update. They'll update later today.
Yeah, exactly. What you see on this board will probably not be what you'll see tomorrow morning. Injury news has to happen. I will say projections change a lot more with NBA than they do NFL, just because NBA there's a lot of last minute news. But still, it's Saturday, 3:00 my time, 4:00 East Coast. We're still 16 hours away from game time. I think we get a ton of injury news later tonight into early morning. So join Discord. These projections will be updated first thing tomorrow morning when I get up. So, like I said, it's gonna be a good day, Joey. So since we're talking about the projections, why don't we get those bad boys up?
Let's throw them up real quick right here.
Yeah, and while you do that, I'm going to tell the people what I look for. So me personally, Joey, I like to play rushing yard props. Those, for me, seem to be the easier just because I like to attack the really bad rushing teams. And I like to kind of play the game script. So NFL is a big game script sport. Would you agree?
Yeah, which is why I don't 100% trust the projections. I do for NBA, but NFL, there's a little more that goes into it than just following projections.
Correct. So, you're going to touch on these in your article, obviously. But one of the plays that I love a ton in this game, Joey, is Alexander Madison over rushing yards.
See what the projections have him at.
Yeah, so go to differential. He's at 10.08 difference.
We have a pretty good difference right there, especially for a high number like that.
Yeah, so for rushing yards, I always look for props 10 and over. So Cook is out. Madison is the lead back now. Detroit is a awful run defense. They're the fourth worst. They give up 133 yards per game on the ground. Vikings are favorites, so they should win. The Lions are missing their best playmaker in Swift. He's out. So to me, everything points to the over here. Now, if this play misses, I'm going to tell you exactly why it will miss if it does miss. And it will be because the Lions get out to a big lead. And
that's a pretty good joke right there. Lions get a big lead.
It's a joke. But when I put out a prop, especially NFL, there is a way the prop will miss outside of injury. And that is game script. And that's if Lions get a lead and Minnesota just goes to a pass-happy offense because they're behind and Madison gets 12 or less carries in this one, I see that that's a very small chance of that happening. So that's why I'm comfortable touting the Madison over rushing yards as my main staple in my cash plays this week. Is this something you agree with, Joey?
I would agree with that. I put an article out on betkarma.com. I can throw that up real quick here for you guys. That's one of my top favorite plays. I mean, I like both Vikings plays that we'll touch on a little later. Books have them at 80.5 rushing yards. It's kind of hard to see on here. But I have a graph here of the four games that Cook has missed in Madison's career. He's gone over 3 times, gone under once, and that was the first time Cook missed, and that was somehow against Atlanta last season. I remember that game. Everyone was confused. Extremely chalky on DFS, and for some reason, he just only got 26 yards. But other than that, 200-yard games this year. This is the 3rd time he's going to play the Lions with Cook out. For some reason, Cook just misses the Lions games. Doesn't make any sense. I guess the Lions' run defense is so good he's terrified of them.
Played earlier this year.
No, actually, that was a game that he missed. Madison at 113 yards. So
yeah, which is well above the Prizepicks projection that is 74.5.
Yep, and books have him at 80.5 too. So getting him a nice discount right there as well. So he's got 95, 112, and 113 the last 3 games that Cook has missed. And it's a great matchup, like you said. Ton of rushing yards. And then they're also an elite matchup here just from the O-line, D-line perspective. The Lions are allowing 1.57 yards before first contact. So he's getting to that, most likely that second level before even getting touched. So he's going to have to deal with those either linebackers or corners and safeties. And then the Vikings, they're very helpful in that O-line. 1.72 yards before first contact. So that's 4th in the league. So great O-line, D-line matchup for Madison as well in the trenches. So Vikings should definitely win the trenches battle, leading to a nice easy over. And, I mean, obviously, 7-point favorites. The Lions should be losing, so the Vikings should be winning. Plenty of game script for him, but you never really know. Any given Sunday, right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So I'm starting off with Madison and all my cash plays, Joey. What's your favorite prop, or what are you starting your cash plays off with this week?
Unfortunately, I'm starting him off with a different Vikings player.
Ooh.
Justin Jefferson. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the projections for him, honestly. Let me see what we have him at. Jefferson.
Interesting.
Jefferson's at 90.
I'm very interested to hear your reasoning why, because I personally fade receiving yards for the most part, even though there is one receiver I like a lot this week in receiving yards. But what I do is because they're very game script heavy. So I get the play and I like it, but I'm very interested to hear the reasoning behind that. It looks like we have them projected for 90 receiving yards, and Prizepicks has him at 80.5.
Yep, books have him at 84.5. So the reasoning: 4 games without Cook, just like Madison. 118 yards or more in all of those games. He's averaging 135 receiving yards during those 4 games. Of course, 2 of them come from Detroit, so easy matchups there. Another one against Atlanta. Another one against Seattle early in the season. So still all amazing matchups. Just because Cook just happens to miss easy matchups for some reason. And in his career, so that's a 53-yard boost right there. This mainly comes from 3 more targets per game, so as well as leading to 3 more receptions per game. And the matchup is elite. Wide receiver ones, outside receivers have been destroying this team, the Lions. You know they have a bad run defense, but guess what? They also have a bad passing defense.
They're bad at everything.
Yeah. So the one thing that will ruin this is if the Vikings get out to too much of a league, and that's not due to Kirk Cousins passing a lot. So a pick 6 or something like that could, or a couple of short fields, just because we know the Lions don't have Swift, so their offense may stall a lot. They've allowed 97 or more yards to that number 1 wide receiver in all games but 3 games. One of those games was that Marquise Brown game where he had 53 yards, but he had 3 dropped long touchdowns. I don't know if you guys remember that game, but I had his over, and I was very tilted by that. And then those other 2 games were 2 recent games against the Browns where Odell had already left. That was an ugly game. We pounded the unders. That was with the backup Lions quarterback.
Yes, yes, we did.
We pounded the unders there. That was some bad weather, so obviously led to a pretty rough showing from both sides, especially on a run-heavy team like the Browns. And then the other one was that tie with Mason Rudolph as quarterback, but Deontay Johnson still had 83 receiving yards in that game. So backup quarterback. Oh, really weird game. I don't know how that game tied, but the Lions had like close to 300 yards rushing somehow. So that was a really weird game for that Steelers team. So besides those 3 teams, number 1 wide receivers are just murdering the Lions. So expect a huge game from Justin Jefferson. All the data points to that right there.
Yeah. Okay, that Joey, that makes complete sense. And looking at the early, the game earlier this year between the two, I see Jefferson went nuts in that one. So I totally agree with that call. Now that you say that.
Yeah, I had him over in that game as well.
Personally, though, for me, I'll tell people if I had to pick between, you cannot play 2 Vikings players in the same prop for a cash play 2 for 2. So if I'm having to pick one, I'm personally going with Madison.
You don't trust me, I see.
No, I trust you. I just trust the ground game because I think Minnesota will be winning. So I trust the positive game script for Madison more than I trust the negative game script for Jefferson in the second half. That's all. I mean, Jefferson can easily hit that number in the first quarter.
Yeah, that would be an interesting first half play, but they don't have those first half plays. But we don't play first half plays around here at DFS.
Correct. So the next guy I want to talk about, Joey, is Jamal Williams for Detroit.
We got a lot of players in this game.
Yeah, so if you go to our fantasy point projections and look at differential, Jamal Williams is the top guy with a 5.15 difference.
Wow.
We have him projected for 18.15 fantasy points, and Prizepicks has him at 13.
Makes sense.
That's an interesting one, Joey, and here's why. Swift is out, like we talked about, right?
Yep.
Well, the Vikings run D's really bad.
Yeah, both defenses are not gonna. Both run defenses in general in this game is gonna be a rough showing for both of them.
Yeah, really, really, really bad. So the Lions actually hung with them earlier this year. Jamal Williams had 13 carries for 57 yards. Swift had 11 for 51 and a touchdown. Jamal Williams also had 2 catches for 8 yards, while Swift had 6 for 53. So Swift is out, so take him out of the equation. Now, I know Lions will probably run some other running backs too, but Williams should be the alpha running back in this game. And to me, 13 just seems really low for a guy who could catch 5 to 6 passes, run for 50 to 60 yards, maybe get a touchdown. 13 is just way too low in my opinion. So I don't think I'll go there for cash, but for GPP purposes. And when I say GPP, I'm talking 4 plays, 5 plays, that stuff for 10 extra money. I like this projection that we have for him over as a top play for fantasy points. You feel the same way with me, Joey?
I 100% agree with that, just because we saw him be a pass-catching back in Green Bay, so we know he does have that ability, and the Lions do like to pass the running backs. It's helpful they have DeAndre Swift, but Jamal Williams is a very good passing down back, and he's a good running back in general. So Anthony Lynn, we saw with the Chargers last year, he loves to use his running backs, so it's not just because Swift is there. I definitely agree with that. He might not need a touchdown. So say he gets 60 yards on the
5
ground.
catches, 30, 40 yards. Yeah, I don't think he needs a touchdown. If he can get 5 catches for, say, 40, 50 yards in this one, he's going to go over easily.
And if he does get that touchdown, lock that in for the over right there. But tough to predict those touchdowns, especially on a bad team like this. There's no guarantee that they even score a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. We have Jamal Williams projected for 67 rushing yards.
See, Williams is plus 130 to score a touchdown. So basically even odds according to the book, a little less than even. So pretty decent chance to score a touchdown, but not guaranteed.
Yeah, and we have him projected for 27.99 receiving yards. So he's actually at 16.50 receiving yards on Prizepicks. So, um,
That's
and
also a good line.
that's actually a 69.64% differential. So I think you can go receiving yards over. I would not play rushing yards over because I do think Lions are going to be trailing, and this will be a negative game script for the run game of the Lions. So if you want to play Jamal Williams, I'd play receiving yards over or fantasy points over.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, big differential right there. 69, nice percent difference.
Yeah.
Does he have a receptions prop? Let's see here.
Do we? Yeah, I
Does
don't
not
know.
look like he's on the portal, so I assume there's not a ton of receptions props that PrizePicks puts up, just because there's usually a lot of juice on those on the books. So with even odds on every single prop for PrizePicks, it's tough to have them up there. Sometimes they're basically guaranteed to go over a certain amount, so it's kind of tough to put them on the board.
Yeah, I would agree. But Joey, so I know you wrote a whole article about guys. So give me your second favorite guy today.
Are you ready for the lock of the century right here?
I am ready. Let's hear the lock of the century.
This is a nice inherited bet. I'm sure everyone remembers this. Probably they might have forgotten, but T.Y. Hilton against the Texans. This man just loves going off against them. He's having a bad season this year, 155 receiving yards. But guess where half of those receiving yards came from? One game against the Texans earlier in the year. He had 80 yards receiving. So he's played 5 games. 80 of those 155 yards came against the Texans already this season. He's healthy. You know he's going to want to go off again. 29 and a half receiving yards for him. That's a little low for Hilton. Even I was a little hesitant on him, but guess what? Our projections like him too. We got him right there at 37.69. So a nice 27% differential percentage. 8 difference. Could only need one nice little deep ball, but he'll get a good amount of targets this game. You know he just loves going off against them. Ready for the history on these guys?
So you're right. Ty does love playing the Texans, so I get to play completely. I would not call this a lock of the century, though. And here's why, Joey. The Colts have to be huge favorites in this one. I don't know the line off the top of my head.
10 points.
10 points. So the Colts are going to be running the ball a ton second half. If Hilton does not get this in the first half of the game, I don't think he gets it at all.
But he will get it in the first half.
And here's the other reason why. Colts have a bye week next week. So
they don't want to run. They don't want to run Jonathan Taylor that much.
No. I'm going a different angle here, Joey.
Okay, let's hear it.
Hold your horses.
I'll hold them.
Okay, so T.Y. Hilton's been injured a lot lately in his career, the last couple of years. Even this year, he's been hurt a lot.
That's true. 5 games.
Why play? Colts are going to go to the playoffs. I think you would agree. They have bigger goals.
Yes.
Why run a injured guy in a blowout win when you have a bye week next week? Why? That makes no sense to me.
See, they don't need to run him that much because he'll go in the first half, guaranteed.
I don't hate the play. It's a GPP play for me, though. I won't run that in cash.
So you don't think that's the lock of the century?
I do not. No, I think there's some better plays on the board for tomorrow that seem more realistic of hitting. Have a higher chance of hitting.
He's got 5 targets in 3 out of the 5 games he's played, not even including that Texans game where he only had 4 targets. The only time he went under that was that blowout win, which, I mean, it's the Texans. They'll hang close, of course, right? Tyrod Taylor?
True.
God. They blew up Buffalo 41-15. Just, I don't know even how many times they threw it that game because Jonathan Taylor just went off. Yeah. They only threw it 20 times. Wentz had 11 completions. So that was the only time he really didn't get many targets. So expect Hilton to go off against the Texans. That's one of those I remembered early in the year. I'm like, shit, I should have played. But that was T.Y. Hilton's first game back. He played the Texans. So it's like every game after he plays the Texans, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to play that narrative. So now that I remember to play the narrative, it's going to miss.
Yeah, probably. Injury news that just came over the desk, Joey. Devontae Parker is activated off injured reserve, so he's probably playing for the Dolphins tomorrow.
Interesting.
So that'll impact the passing game there. We're not going to go in-depth on all these guys, Joey, or we'll be here all day. But rapid fire real quick. Just a couple. Let's just name 3 guys that we like on each side, Joey. I'll start. I like Mixon over rushing yards. I think that's a great play.
That's also my
Deontay,
article if you want an in-depth view on that.
well, how nice.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about Joey's article. We'll just name this podcast Joey's article. Let's just all talk about Joey.
That's all we really need. I mean, I'm the best prop guy out there, so obviously
Yeah.
I'll have a good article.
Totally. Deontay Johnson over receiving yards. I like that play going against Baltimore.
And guess what? That is not in my article.
Oh, flipping time.
There we go.
And then here's the other guy, like Russell Gage over fantasy points or receiving yards.
Interesting.
Playing a bad Tampa pass defense. You can't run on that Tampa defense. Not like the Falcons can run anyways.
You're telling me Mike Davis isn't going to just run for 100 yards against them?
I am not. But Gage has actually shown that he is the receiver now. Him and Pitts are the 1-2 for that offense. So, Matt Ryan will probably throw close to 40 times in this one. I could see Gage catching 4 or 5 passes in this one. So, those are the 3 plays just off the top of my head that I'm looking at this week. Joey, give me 3 plays that you're looking at.
That is an interesting play. I don't know exactly what I want to do with Atlanta because you expect them to throw a ton, but like, how successful are they going to be? Like, that's what I'm worried about.
I agree. I agree with you, but someone's got to catch the ball or try to.
Cordell Patterson.
Okay.
That's all you really need out there. Jackknife,
Okay.
X Factor, Taysom Hill 2.0, but a better version. Basically, Christian McCaffrey right there.
Okay.
Revitalized career. 100 receiving yards, 100 rushing yards this week against the Tampa Bay defense, right?
Okay. Yeah, totes.
I don't think you agree with that, but
I don't mind receiving yards over, but I'm not going to play as
that is actually one I do like. It was 33.
Okay.
I think I've actually hit the 2 times I've played. I've hit that. So that is an interesting one. I've actually hit on the first pass for him. Sometimes he just gets a nice long pass. So that is something, probably my favorite. We have a lot of top props for the Falcons. I know this isn't rapid fire anymore because I hate you and I never listen to you. But a couple of our top props here. Tajay Sharp, hate playing him. Amalid Zacharias has been under barely a couple games in a row.
But we understand the why they're up there.
Correct.
We do.
Yeah. Nice little number. They're going to pass a lot. They really only need 2 catches to go over. We haven't projected, I believe, to get 3 catches. That's why we have the over there. They haven't projected probably to get 2 catches. So that's kind of why these small lines are up there, because 1 catch, 2 catch, not a huge difference between those 2 in the grand scheme of things. So kind of tougher to project. That's why we kind of avoid them. But there's a nice top prop right here. You told me Jermichael Hasty is back, but Elijah Mitchell's at 5.5 receiving yards. We have him projected for 20. I've never seen a projection this high before, differential percentage-wise, besides QB rushing yards. That's why we hide those. But he's projected a 275% differential.
Ooh.
There's no Deebo Samuel. There's no Trey Sermon. Hasty is the 3rd down back. So Mitchell will not get 3rd down back work most likely this game, but doesn't need to get 3rd down back work to get a catch. With no Deebo Samuel there, I could easily see him getting 2 catches, not on 3rd downs. So that is something, not a GPP play. I mean, not a cash play, but definitely a nice GPP play you can throw along with T.Y. Hilton receiving yards. Because I know you love those 2. I feel like I convinced you a little bit on T.Y. Hilton. I know they're going against your Texans.
We're going to lose. But, I prefer Jonathan Taylor over rushing yard, but continue.
I'm sure that's going to be a popular. Everyone's probably going to play that. But I don't like playing rushing yards over 100. Just so much can go wrong. They do also have Nyheim Hines, which we saw get blowout work in that Jets game, which is probably going to be a similar game to that Jets game where they just destroy them. And they're giving Hines some carries as well. There's no reason to give Taylor 30 carries this game, but he might only need 10 to 15 to go over 100 yards this game, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, I also like, in my article, I talked about Elijah Mitchell over rushing yards instead. Again, no Debo Samuel, no Trey Sermon, so he should get a bulk of the carries. He got 27 carries in 2 straight games, 100 yards in both those games. Got 100 yards a lot this season, so I expect him get a nice bulk of the carries. I don't trust that Jeff Wilson's going to get much. He got 19 attempts for 50 yards in his game where Elijah Mitchell was out 2 games ago, and that was against the Jaguars. So they really seems like they don't really have much trust in him because they didn't.
Well, he's looked really bad too, so I agree with you.
They gave him 1 carry. It was either 1 carry for 4 yards or 4 carries for 1 yard last game. I forgot what it was. So yeah, don't expect a ton from him. They give him 10 carries in his first game back, but it just doesn't seem like they're gonna give him much workload there. So I'll probably avoid receiving yards and just stick with those rushing yards there. And what else is there to talk about here? I don't know what other. I didn't prepare like a million plays like you did.
Let's not give away all the goodies.
Yeah, let's. I'll just throw up Prizepicks real quick and find a quick prop that's amazing. Let's do. What's Tyler Boyd at? Chargers like to give us stuff in the middle. Tyler Boyd, 34.5 receiving yards. That's an easy one. Lock that in. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Got over that 3 of the last 5 games. Looking at the 5-game log. One other against Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Tough AFC North matchups. The Chargers don't like to give up a lot of deep balls, which is kind of why they're rushing yards. They're giving up a ton. They run a lot of 2 high safeties, kind of that thing where everyone's playing against Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, why they're not having as good of a season. So the Chargers run that no matter what, so they love to give up stuff in the middle, short routes, and rushing yards. So they'll probably limit Jamar Chase a lot. I don't want to take his under just in case he has one big play, because the Chargers screw everything up all the time. Being a Chargers fan, I know that. So I'll take Tyler Boyd as well, over 34.5 receiving yards. That's my quick play to find. Rapid fire.
Okay. All right, I like it, Joey. So I think that's everything, unless you have something else you want to talk about. But when are we back, Joey? Monday, Tuesday? Tell me. You're the busy man now.
Monday or Tuesday? Well, you're now the host, I guess, because you brought us in, so you get to decide. But probably, what do we got? Monday, we got a nice. Oh no, Monday works. I did not have physical therapy on Monday, so we'll be back on Monday.
All right, so we'll be back on Monday. Yeah, lock that in. Join the rest of us. Join us in Discord. DFSkarma.com/chat. Joey, is that right?
Look at you.
Hey, look at me. I got one right today. I can have a beer now. But we're gonna hop out here because I want to watch the Bama Georgia game and the U of H Cincinnati game because I got a lot writing on today. Join us in Discord. We're sweating Bennett. He's the other half of my college football lock pick that I dropped, so hopefully he goes over passing yards soon.
How's he doing right now? Is he
14 yards passing on 1 drive, so that's it.
Oh, so he sucks. You're gonna screw us all. I see.
Okay, Joey.
So I see how it is.
So with that being said, join us in Discord. You can find all our goodies in there. I got nothing else, Joey. You got anything you want to say?
Good luck this weekend, and we will see you next week.
All right, see ya.